What's up, and welcome to the Uncle Cyborg Show, where we talk about the biggest topics and our favorite things about video games while keeping it rated E for everyone. I'm Super Nolan Man, and joining me is Matthew Hot Dog Eater, aka Matthew Daniels,
I moved my wall.
and the Hyrule King, Bo Mitchell.
Hey.
And today we are talking about not E3 week, giving you the highlights from the PlayStation State of Play, Summer Games Fest, and the Xbox Games Showcase. We're going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
And this will not be an exhaustive list of every announcement made, but just the ones that most people care about. So if your game that you've been anticipating is not on this list, let us know in the comments so we can remind you how unimportant your game is. Beginning with the State of Play, this last June 4th, Wednesday, the eve of the Switch 2 launch. The highlights here include Ninja Gaiden Ragebound out on July 31st. July is turning up to be a pretty stacked month. There's 2 months this year that are going to be supremely stacked. July the 1st of these. How are we feeling about Ragebound? Are we still interested?
Should be good.
Yeah, multiple previews are available. Additionally, announced Bloodstained getting a sequel. Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement out 2026. Now, Bo, as somebody who played Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night, and I'm just now getting interested to get into this here. What do you think of Scarlet Engagement coming out? Were you expecting a sequel?
I was expecting it. It was okay. I was expecting a little bit more from the creator of Castlevania, or one of the creators of Castlevania.
Sure.
It was decent. Hopefully this one is better. Like it could be better. But when you compare it to like other really good Metroidvanias in like recent years, it just doesn't really hold a candle to it.
Sure.
Or to them. So
yeah, this is one where when we first saw the initial trailer for it back in, oh goodness, I want to say 2016 was the first time we saw a trailer for Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night, and people were like, oh, this, of course, excited for it, but even then, people were like, I'm not quite sure about the art style, and then it came out,
the art
and
style,
it was very polarizing.
Yeah,
and it is more of the same here, but here's hoping that they've evolved the series. Well, on from there, Capcom finally reemerged with Pragmata. It is coming 2026. So after last hearing about it way back in 2023, Pragmata, which people believed to have a tumultuous development, has made its grand return with a new gameplay trailer. And in the footage, we see a character named Hugh protecting a little girl named Diana, and a ton of stylish action. And Pragmata takes place on the moon and tasks our characters with working together to defeat the lunar station AI and return to Earth. And what makes Pragmata unique, though, is that allegedly you will control both characters at the same time. Capcom,
like Tale of Two Brothers.
Along those, obviously a different style of game, but Capcom will share more details about how that works in the future. But looking at the trailer, is like, okay, this is a lot of action, almost bullet hellish in parts. Where I was getting little bits of Nier, I was getting little bits of Devil May Cry. It's very interesting. I think we will need to wait until a deep dive to know if this game is actually going to be of consequence.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds cool.
Ghost of Yote gets a focused state of play in July and confirms October 2nd release date. Do we need to see a state of play for this?
I would like to, just to see like what's new. Sorry.
Sure.
You're good. Cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. The state of play is going to be focused on combat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll be similar to the first game.
Yeah. Matthew, is there anything that you need to see from Ghost of Yote state of play in July to be excited about it, or is
Uh,
this just totally off your radar?
Probably just off my radar. I'm sure it's good, but
Yeah, because you never played the first one, right?
no. What's funny, I always got that one and Sekiro confused.
Yeah,
So like, because I
similar
never
enough.
seen either. Like until Elden Ring, I never even knew about those games, and so I just thought they were the same thing. And I found out it's more like Assassin's Creed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's like open world, like Assassin's Creed.
I'll probably get to it at some point. Maybe.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's a pretty good game.
And coming as a surprise to absolutely no one, Neo 3 announced from Koei Tecmo. Of course, they were
Yeah,
going to go back there.
I still need to play 2. I for one, I need to get 2 now. Although one's platinum and 100% was pretty rough, so I'm sure
Right.
3 will be just as crazy.
Yep. And as per usual with these Neo trailers and the games in general, the bosses look incredible.
Oh
Fantastic
yeah,
visual design of these bosses, but we'll have to wait and see if it changes up anything with the gameplay. Moving on from there, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice
yeah.
Chronicles, September 30th. I've got stuff to read about this, but anyone else excited to see Final Fantasy Tactics finally make its way to modern consoles?
The one game I've only played like once in the Final Fantasy series, and I've always wanted to play it like more, but I just never been able to get a copy of it. So I'm really really hyped for it.
Yeah, it's locked to really inconvenient places. And the only version of the game I played is the
Yes,
Game Boy Advance version, which everybody tells me is not the same game.
that is actually a sequel.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
And even then, I've only played snippets of it. So this is what I've been
yeah,
waiting for a while. I'm glad to see this happening. The enhanced version, it comes with the original and enhanced versions. Enhanced includes fully voiced dialogue, optimized and updated UI, graphical improvements, and quality of life features, including a Squire difficulty setting. The classic version will unite the graphics and gameplay of the original 97 version with the renowned War of the Lions translation. Will also include new features like autosave. So we're looking
yeah.
forward to
War of the
that
Lions
this
is the
September.
PSP
Mhm.
version.
Mm,
So that'll be cool. It's like
makes
really
sense.
really well done writing.
Right on.
Yeah,
All right, we finally saw more from Silent Hill F. How are we feeling about Silent Hill F?
not as good as originally. I think that first trailer set like a stylistic expectation that this trailer didn't meet. Uh the combat looks pretty similar to Silent Hill 2 remake if you've seen that combat, which was good. I've heard people really liked it. Um I don't know, it just stylistically isn't as interesting as when we first saw it.
I
So I'm
feel
hoping
the
that
same
there's
thing.
more that is they just haven't shown us, or I don't know.
Yeah, what the
Not as
second
into
they
it anymore.
showed this trailer popped up, I got done with it feeling like cool. So it's just a continuation of what Silent Hill has become. It's just more Silent Hill when it really felt like they're going to go for something different, like they had this grand idea in mind. But alas, this does not seem to be the case. I will say for myself, all hype for Silent Hill F went out the window with this trailer.
Yeah, I'm still kind of like they could persuade me,
I'll wait and see.
but it's lower on my radar now.
Sure.
Is it connected at all to the other games or no?
I it
Not sure.
not that we know of.
Okay,
And
but so it's not
there's
like a direct like
no.
continuation.
In
Okay,
fact, it takes place in a different time
in the F
and
timeline.
location in general. So there's unless it's something really like they're
I'm
gonna
sure
be
it's
like
connected somehow.
it,
They always
maybe.
do that.
Yeah.
But
It'll
yeah,
just be a dog operating a computer at the end, just like the other one.
that's the best ending.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really follow Silent Hill because like it was like 2017 maybe or 18. I wanted to get into them, but they were like $100 each. So never got
Yeah.
into it.
Pretty hard to find
Played
them.
the remakes at some point. Or the remake of 2,
Yeah,
was it?
Silent Hill 2 remake is on my radar. I just haven't gotten around to getting it.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's really good.
A lot of people's game of the year last year, but I feel like that's cheating a little bit.
Yeah. Hard to do a remake as game of the year. Unless it's like something like Resident Evil where it
Yeah.
like is almost a completely different game.
Sure. Yep. And this was pretty one for one with just some updated combat and of course it's
You know,
Grand Theft
they
as well.
their original HD like remaster, I guess. I don't know if it's true or not, but my buddy told me like they just kind of expanded the view, and so you would see enemies like on screen waiting to come in at certain points in like the PS3 one. So
Oh yeah.
that's funny.
Also announced in my highlight of the show, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls coming 2026 for PS5 and PC from Arc System Works, the developer of the Guilty Gear series and Dragon Ball Fighters. And let me tell you, I always imagine myself being the fighting game guy. I'm really not. I just like arcade fighters and I like doing it in a more arcade setting. And that's really about it. So every time I jump into one of these, I bounce off pretty quickly. But from everything I'm seeing here, this might be the one that actually gets me. But also, this looks like
Yeah.
the perfect blend of that pop culture and Evo bait, you know?
And the art style is really, really cool. I was pretty impressed by that trailer.
If it's anything like
I hope that I like it.
it's anything like Dragon Ball
I
Fighters,
really want to.
Yeah. And last thing of this showcase, 007 First Light got its first big trailer. And coming from IO Interactive, this was teased for a while and coming out 2026. And I'll be the first to say that I need to wait and see more now.
Yeah, same. It it looks cool, but yeah, it's too hard. It's too early to tell.
I wanted to see how they brought the interactive nature and the choose your own route ideas of Hitman into James Bond, but it really seems
Yeah.
like they're wanting to go for a little bit more of an Uncharted kind of style with this.
Yeah, it'd be a fun game. I'll have to wait and see.
All right, on June 6th, we had Summer Games Fest, and I think I speak for a lot of people where we say it was rough. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
There's a
great
cool
either.
thing there, though.
Yes, and
Something
let's
I'm really
start with
hyped for.
that. We're gonna hop right into Resident Evil Requiem, aka
Resident Evil 9.
Evil 9, coming February
Yay.
27th of 2026. Before I say
Yeah.
anything about it, Bo, this is your big announcement of the week.
Yeah. Man. Oh boy. So when the trailer first starts, they definitely make you think it's gonna be Rose from 7, or not from 7, from 8. And because like it looks just like her from the back. Totally new character, but she's a reference to another character that was a side character in shoot.
Oh,
I
so
think
sorry.
it was Oh, go ahead.
I know which one it is. Because it's one of the games I've played.
Yeah.
It's her. She's the daughter of one of the former characters.
Yeah. She's related to Ashton.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. That's her last name.
Little Ashton.
Yeah. So she has some very clear trauma, which I think is going to be interesting. So it's like she's going to like be, I think, reliving some of that trauma, and there might be like some flashback type stuff. And something crazy went down in Raccoon City. They're finally going back, which is super cool. Classic location from Resident Evil 2 and 3. Yes, Matthew.
Yeah, and as for those, I'm sorry to cut you off, but for those of you who don't know,
No, you're
this is
fine.
a sequel to the hit show Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. So if you want to know before you play this game, go to Netflix, go watch Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. It's not that good, but some crazy stuff does go down, and it leads to the events in this, from what I'm told, from my sources, from
Nice.
people close to the situation. They're telling me this is true.
No.
Oh, come on.
Well,
Um,
just
yeah. So they showed like the wreck of the Raccoon City Police Department and the big statue, and oh man, it's gonna be cool. I'm excited for it.
yeah, they have the
They didn't show any
references
gameplay,
to,
but
yeah, they show the
sorry, what?
references to 2 and 3 there, and they show that this is Raccoon City after the bomb.
Yes.
And
Yep, it is messed up now.
yes, and while we didn't see really much outside of that one introductory kind of scene, Capcom has come out
Yeah,
and
they basically
said,
just set up the plot.
yeah, they came out and described a shift in the series, taking on a new tone and feel with cinematic high stakes action, which to me screams Resident Evil 4 when I hear it. I think a lot of people get that same vibe from that cinematic high stakes action.
Resident Evil 6 right there, bud.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be that. But it seems like this
Yeah,
is
8
going to
was
be
more action again, so it could be hard to say.
Yeah. We'll have to see how this goes, but
Yeah.
But if we got a nice blend of since it's taking from 2 and 3, we got a nice blend of that, because 2 and 3 for a lot of people that's classic Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
So we got a little bit of a mix of the classic with this newer action kind of style. I think they might have something there. When he was talking,
I'm excited.
when the director came out talking about it, I forgot that it's called Biohazard in Japan. So I keep hearing him say
Yes.
Biohazard.
Didn't they? I thought they
'Cause
switched it
when
up. I thought they
7
brought it
came
back to the
out-
same name, didn't they?
For 7, they had the title of it Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Okay, never
And
mind.
we thought that they're just going to call it Biohazard going forward, but no, they didn't commit to it like Sega did with Like a Dragon /
That's
Yakuza.
okay. That might have been the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Resident Evil's an
Yakuza is
iconic
now
name,
Like a
so
Yeah.
they don't really need to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on from there.
Yeah.
We also got Lies of P Overture Shadow dropped, and
Yeah.
coming out to positive reviews. Nobody's exclaiming, "Holy cow! This is the new Shadow of the Erd Tree," or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's
It
described
almost
by
costs as much as it $30.
Yeah, it's a 30 DLC for what a lot of people are describing as just more Lies of P, with some
Which
added,
I mean, I really liked Lies of P.
yeah,
You
with
like it
some
for
added
$30.
features, with including some new customizations with weapons, including some difficulty options for those who are
Yep.
so
added
inclined,
easy
and
mode.
for everybody else, you can forget it exists. And so
They
Lies of
added
P
easy
Overture-
mode and an extra hard mode, so there you go. Win-win.
Reviewer mode and Giga
Yeah.
Chad mode.
So, Lies of P Overture being shadow dropped, how do we feel about that? Do we feel like it was the right call to shadow drop that DLC?
Yeah, we were expecting it around now, so I think it's fine.
I
And
like shadow drops.
I'm excited to play it once I get around to it. So
I like shadow drops. I feel like for this being a DLC and not something that you just purchase separate, it's not like you can just, hey, and you can pick it up right now. It's like, well, I have to buy this whole other game and then purchase a $30 DLC. And the shadow drop really works when there's a big call to action. It's like, yes, everybody watching, go pick it up right now. And I feel like doing this as a shadow drop, if anything, really buried it, especially because of how killer of a week we're having in terms of announcements. I think, other
Yeah.
people who I know who've been waiting for this DLC didn't even realize that it dropped.
yeah, I didn't realize that until a day after it was announced.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I like shadow drop because they always announce stuff. All right, coming in like 9 months. Boom.
Yeah. I like shadow drop things. I like when there's something just immediately there available. But I think a DLC and a paid DLC for an already premium game, that's pretty difficult to make happen there.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
moving on, Arc Raiders, the extraction shooter that I've been anticipating. It's just got it's the only one of these extraction shooters coming out where I actually vibe with the style of it. Comes out October 30th, 2025. We'll see if anyone else has wanted to play that when it comes out. Mortal Shell
Pretty cool.
2 actually kicked off Summer Games Fest with actually a pretty dope trailer. Now coming in 2026, it's hard to be excited for Mortal Shell 2 because Mortal Shell also had a great
Yeah.
trailer.
Mortal Shell 1 is an interesting game because there's some really cool ideas in it, but it just outstays its welcome after a while. I hope this one is better. I think it could be. So
Yeah. I
good
will need
potential
to
there.
see the gameplay trailer and hopefully some kind of a deep dive, at least a dive. I want to hear the dev talk about this game, and I want to hear them talk about the weapon balancing and stuff like that, and the mechanics that weren't quite fully baked. And I want to hear how they're
Yeah.
adjusting that for Mortal Shell 2 because Mortal Shell felt like they had to put something out and felt like it
Yeah.
needed a little more time to cook.
Yeah.
And now, why everybody clicked on this video, of course, Killer Inn, the new team-based social deduction game from Square Enix, known for making team-based social deduction games, of course.
Looks so bad. Looks so bad.
Oh, do
What's
me a
really
favor,
sad
everybody, look
is
up this trailer.
they just said they're doing restructuring, and then they release something like this. Like, what are you doing, Square?
To
Hey,
be fair,
restructure,
this was
bro.
probably in development since 2019.
Yeah, it might have been. That's true. It looks pretty
at,
rough though.
at least they're releasing their games that are finished.
Yeah. It'll still probably make them some money, but it won't make them very much money.
Is it free?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know. We don't have a release date either. But like social deduction game, come on. I
Sounds like
mean,
a COVID game.
Yeah, it does.
agreed. Now, and I feel like social deduction was the COVID genre because you really
Mhm.
couldn't do much anything else. And there's some. I mean, we played a social deduction game recently in Out of
Elden Ring Irene.
Jackbox, and it's been the game. There's a people who like that type of game, and that type of game is really nice for about 30 minutes to an hour and a half. You just to play. Not you can't even play for a whole evening. It's just cool. Let's just drop in, play this once or twice. All right, and we're done with it for good. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't see how this possibly works out well for them.
Yeah. It's a good thing they have tactics releasing soon. That'll help.
Absolutely. Now, Project Century made its return, now called Stranger Than Heaven. Nothing to say on this one except that if you thought this was interesting before, check out that trailer because it looks even more interesting now, even though we have no idea what the heck is happening or what the heck you're supposed to be doing. We have no idea what kind of game
Yeah.
this is, but it looks intriguing and quiet. And finally, Sonic Racing Crossworlds will feature a number of other Sega characters and non-Sega characters, featuring Hatsune Miku, Ichiban Kazuga, Persona 5's Joker, and of course the GOAT himself, Minecraft Steve. You can't have a Sega
It's the
racing
Mario
game
Kart
without
killer.
Minecraft Steve.
No, Mario Kart's the Mario
Right?
Kart killer.
It may be. Yeah, at this point, you may have seen / heard our review of Mario Kart World, or it'll be coming later this week, depending on which order these drop. And
Yep.
yeah, Sonic Racing Crossroads has got some competition for the most racing game of the year.
Team Sonic Racing was pretty fun.
What's that?
Team Sonic Racing was pretty fun. It was
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I've heard
last
it's
Sonic
pretty
game to have a Crush 40 song, I think.
decent.
All right. Well, that will conclude Summer Games Fest. And moving on to today, June 8th, the Xbox Games Showcase. They closed out the show with Black Ops 7 arriving this year. So we went straight to Black Ops 7 again after 6. And
And the
you guys
crowd
need to check
goes
out this trailer.
mild.
You need to check out this trailer. They are doing something. So Black Ops 6, for those who are unfamiliar, who discount Call of Duty games because it's Call of Duty, they did something special with the Black Ops 6. Not just the
A lot better
open
than
world
normal.
sections and the ways that you kind of choose the route you want to take and all the different options they give you in freedom of play style, but stylistically went a very strange route with some really bonkers off the wall kind of stuff where you need to look up some of these late game missions where you are just you go on a trip. And this trailer here is exactly that. The entire trailer, they don't tell you it's Black Ops. They don't tell you it's Call of Duty until all of a sudden the very end of the trailer you see Call of Duty. But I was watching people react to this and everybody's like, "Oh man, whatever this is, I'm all in on it. Like this is the craziest thing I've seen." And then all of a sudden Call of Duty characters show up and everybody's like, "We got baited so hard." I loved it. I'm excited for it.
That's funny.
Because of course everything in this showcase is going to be coming up on Game Pass. So we've got some games to
Yeah.
play later this year.
I was
Speaking of games to go ahead.
I just thought it was funny because like I heard or when I'd seen it, I like looked at it and it was like the little description. It was like the bad guy is gonna weaponize fear itself. I was like, what does that got to do about Call of Duty?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, that's like
So they seem to be going all in on the interesting elements from Black Ops 6. So
hey,
we
year
might be
like 10
interested
of
in
asking
really
for a Call
cool.
of Duty Zombies game. Put all the maps. Maybe not 10 years, but just all the zombie maps. Put in the game. I promise it'll be like a bestseller. People love zombies.
They need to do a zombies takeover of Warzone.
Oh, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of games coming out later this year, they doubled down on Hollow Knight Silksong as day one on Game Pass and announced it is a launch title for the ROG Xbox Ally X coming later this year. No date given, but it gives us a window and confirms this year.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm glad we finally have something locked down here.
It's on my fantasy critic list still.
Yes. And we had an idea
Yeah.
because the game will be playable in its entirety in an Australian museum come September. So it's got to be soon. It's got to be soon. I wonder if Nintendo has a secret presentation coming up in July and that's where we'll finally get a release date for it. Maybe, hey Matthew,
so.
maybe it's shadow dropped.
Woo. I like that. Give it to, I don't want to hear this coming out in 9 months. Oh, game's coming out in 9 months. Woohoo! Yeah, thanks, dude. Real excited. Let me go place my pre-order, man. I don't want to miss out.
When that date gets announced, it must happen within 45 days.
Yes.
If they have a presentation, say it's July 15th, it needs to be coming out October 1st.
Like I get it. How about just like find
Or
the national average for payday and then just like release it a couple weeks before that.
Or excuse me,
Say, hey,
September
all right, coming out in 2 weeks,
Excuse
man.
me.
So get paid and buy it.
Yeah, I said July 15th. I meant September 1st. July 15th is September 1st. But anyways,
Oh, I see.
because I gave them an extra 30 days that they don't need. Well, not shown, but teased for next year. Phil Spencer came out and confirmed Forza, Fable, Gears of War E-Day, and a secret fourth classic franchise that has been with Xbox since the beginning, all coming in 2026. I would go hard for a new Banjo being
Same. They
propped
won't
up
do it though.
as a core.
Oh wait, no,
Xbox
Viva Pinata,
franchise.
dude. They had the 2 games back in the day. That's a
Man,
classic
they showed
franchise.
something in here today that made me think they're prepared to do anything except Viva Pinata at this point.
Hating.
But
That's
coming
because
up to the
they don't
one
want to make
that-
too much money.
Yeah. Now, next up is video games worst kept secret the last couple months. Persona 4 Revival confirmed.
Yeah. Not surprised at all.
Yep. There are a lot of conspiracy theories because the prior voice actors for Persona 4 were coming out and saying that they weren't asked to do a Persona 4 game, that they're not doing vocals or sorry, VA for it. But
Right.
they were
Yeah.
coming out in the order that they appear in the actual game. So everybody thought that it was like it's because it's not a remake, it's a reimagining. And so that's why everybody's saying that they're not going to be in a Persona 4 remake. But no, we do have it confirmed now that they are not in this game, that it's a new voice cast. But how do we feel about that?
I think there's some characters that definitely could use a new voice. Like a little bit on the campy side. There's some characters that it's kind of a bummer they won't be returning. Like I really like Kanji. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you
I think a new voice cast could be okay though. As long
Do
as
you
they're
think
good.
in
That's the only important thing.
2025 that they decide to just remove Kanji from the game?
No.
That's the one I keep.
They might do
hearing from
something
everybody.
weird. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. If they're going to do something weird, I think I'd prefer full erasure at this point.
Same.
But especially if they're going to ruin him. I don't know what it is. People can't take a complex character. Anyways, Persona 4 Revival coming to Game Pass. Sweet. I got to I'm on the clock. I got to finish Persona 3 remake now. Or Reload, excuse me.
Yeah.
Clockwork Revolution got a deep dive. This is that one that had a little bit of like a BioShock Infinite vibe that we saw last year. And man, this trailer was like going on, and for a while I was like, okay, surely like you guys are going to be going somewhere with this. And then they showed the actual like time twisting mechanics. And this is one for if you like immersive sim kind of games where you like this first person again, BioShock like action. Yeah. So Bo. And the Bo likes out in the world. You really need to check the trailer for Clockwork Revolution. Because this game looks like it's going to be a solid 8 out of 10. That feels like a 10 out of 10 for the people it really hits with. An 8 out of 10 that you respect like a 10 out of 10.
All right, buddy.
Speaking of developers who are gaining our respect, Obsidian is on an absolute tear this year, with Avowed having come out earlier this year, Outer Worlds 2 being confirmed for October 29th, and getting a big old deep dive at the end. I'm going to come back to that because what I'm actually talking about is the unannounced third game until today. Grounded 2 will be playable July 29th.
No, I'm kidding. But
this was not on anybody's bingo card.
Yeah. It was not on mine either. Grounded 1 was an interesting game. There were some cool parts. I don't know if it needed a sequel though.
Yeah, and this sequel will take place 2 years after the original, where the Doctor and those 4 teens have disappeared once again.
Spoiler alert.
But there has been a major explosion, and that's about all we got.
one particular kind of person who's going to be really interested in this, and that's about it.
Yep. And honestly, I'm kind of interested in it. I had a good time with Grounded. It was.
You didn't have to do all the grunt work.
That's true. Yeah,
We
I
gave
kind
you
of got
that.
to just. That's true. I was kind of gifted that platinum by the rest of the trio.
Oh my word, that was so annoying. Yeah, so much busy work in that game. It was cool,
Yeah.
but like, man, oh my word.
Yeah, it's not
Anyway,
an enjoyable game to complete. Uh,
no,
it's fun to mess around and to do your Minecraft style building and stuff like that. But you know,
the combat was
it
okay.
yeah. And with this one, they seem to be going all in on mounts and mount combat, which is an
Yeah,
interesting change up of things. So we'll see how that goes because you had mounted creatures fighting each other. Um, so we'll see what this looks
that
like.
could help.
Um,
Wait,
but it's now I believe they described it as something like early play, so this may not be the final version of the game, but still, Obsidian coming in with 3 titles this year is absolutely massive.
they're a wild company.
What what a wild company indeed. Um, next up, we see this beautiful trailer with remarkably amazing graphics for a game called Beast of Reincarnation. And if you
Oh
have not
man,
looked at this yet, pause the video, go watch that,
it looks
and then come
so
back
good.
here. Okay, now that you're back, Game Freak coming
Yeah,
off of
absolutely
Pokemon
wild.
Scarlet and Violet.
You guys think that was our
Yeah, they're
fault?
like, oh, they're like, man, sorry guys, we made a really crappy looking game. We got to make a really good one now, okay?
I mean, you got to imagine that they've been working on this for a long, long time.
It must have been, yeah.
But this also
It
goes
looks
to show.
amazing.
Yeah, I want to make
It
sure Paris
looks
isn't burning down the house.
it looks
Continue.
extreme. But
Okay.
hear this, you look at this, and you think, man, Nintendo really needs to get their act in order, because I don't even think it's necessarily the Switch's fault that Scarlet and Violet looks so bad, but it's the unrealistic timeline and the lack of support they're receiving from Nintendo to make these games happen.
Yeah, it's kind of multifaceted. There's some problems
Mhm.
at Game Freak
Sure,
itself too.
totally, yeah, it's not
But
just a
yeah,
Nintendo thing. Yeah,
yeah, this is crazy to see from them. Like, this is the first time I've been excited for a Game Freak game in a really long time. So
right. Yeah,
really hyped for
and
this.
with that, um, sorry, give me a second here. Oh,
Yeah, you're fine.
so is this the first non-Nintendo Game Freak game outside of they had a game on Sega way back in the day.
Yeah, they had a game on PS1 as well.
Oh, do you know what game that was?
I always forget the title of it because it's super weird. But yeah,
Okay.
they did one on PS1.
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't remember.
I was looking up that Sega game. Pulse Man is the one that was on uh was first published with Sega. Everything else is Nintendo. And almost everything is Pokemon. It's you've got Pocket Card
Yes.
Jockey, you've got Little Town Hero, um, and then it's basically the Yoshi game on NES. uh,
Nope.
yeah, wow, so crazy to
Crazy.
see this from them. Uh,
Yeah.
I, yeah,
It
yeah,
looks really good and like really solid gameplay, which is surprising.
yeah. And
And
rounding up
it's like
here,
right up my alley.
right? Yeah, yeah, you're the person I thought of when I saw that trailer. Uh,
Yeah.
coming up next, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. Again, coming July 11th, but received a launch trailer today highlighting some of the secret characters. Because best part about Tony Hawk is the secret characters. Highlights the
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and who other
Yep.
but the Doomslayer.
Nice.
Man, seeing him on a skateboard, it just feels right. it feels like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 back to life.
Yeah,
Moving
that
on
one's
from
on my
there.
fantasy critic. I'm hoping it's gonna do well.
Oh, I think you absolutely made the right
I think
call
it will.
there. Yeah. Matthew's future game of the year, Ninja Gaiden 4, releases October 21st. Got another trailer today.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
It looks like the most Matthew Daniels kind of game, but
Because
you can tell me if I'm wrong.
well, because I was thinking, because like it wasn't until I thought about it, because like, well, first it's Platinum Games. They made Bayonetta, Nier. They did a Transformers game that was really good. They did Metal Gear Rising, and so they like this is their type of game. And I didn't realize it until I was thinking about it because I never played Ninja Gaiden. But then I was thinking I really like Devil May Cry, I really like Nier. I was like, hey, maybe this is just my type of game then. And then I looking at the trailer again, I was like, yeah, that seems like something I want to be playing. I don't know if I'll go back and play the other ones first or not, but
Nah, different play style.
okay.
I mean, you can play them now because they released them
I
or
could.
some of them.
I got a big backlog right now. But yeah,
Yeah,
I imagine this one, if it's anything like the other games Platinum Games made, it'll be really good, but it'll get like zero attention.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, Ninja Gaiden's a pretty well-known, beloved franchise, so
That's their flavor. Their flavor's making just good games, and then like nobody talks about them.
it's true. Yeah, everything except Nier.
Yeah.
And for a couple games slated for 2026, first of all, we were coming into this last week expecting an announcement of a beloved 2D indie game making the jump to 3D from Yacht Club. But instead of Shovel Knight going 3D this week, Super Meat Boy 3D releases 2026, and this was an interesting trailer to say the least.
So weird how many indie games are going 3D, and like a lot of them, it just doesn't work.
Right? Yeah, and there's a lot of games that are like predicted or expected to go 3D. I haven't heard
Yeah.
a peep about Super Meat Boy going 3D.
Oh yeah, that wasn't predicted really. Not that I'm
No,
aware of.
this is the first I'm hearing anything of it, which seems like a little bit surprising. This is one that almost doesn't make sense to go 3D, but when you look at it, it's like, oh, they're clearly trying to go Mario 3D World with it. Like they literally have a green pipe pop out of the ground, like he's going to come out of it, but then he just drops from the sky. Like they're clearly trying to emulate the Mario 3D World style, but with that hardcore Super Meat Boy platforming. This looks like it's going to be an awful time for everybody. But that's what people are coming to that game for.
Oh yeah,
They're coming for
that is
pain.
what that game is known for.
And what started off the show and was probably the best looking visually trailer I've ever seen was Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy. And the Plague Tale games already look good, but this looked incredible visually. My word.
They stepped it up. They've always been crazy good at visuals, but this is like wow.
I've had times where I'm like, wow, it's like watching a movie, but I still feel like I'm watching a video game trailer. This was the first time where I was like, okay, this is a video game trailer, right? And not even necessarily because it was so realistic, but because it was so perfectly smooth. All of the motion was so realistic, but the cinematic framing of it felt like you were watching a movie much more than a lot of the other so-called cinematic experiences in video games. Even if you don't care about the series, still check out this trailer just to kind of see.
I highly recommend that series. Even though the gameplay isn't like amazing, I really, really liked that series. One of the few series that's actually made me cry, which is pretty, I've talked about it on the show before. This one is pretty cool though, because it's like a prequel. So, yeah, I think it's gonna show like how the plague started. So, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And finally, as we said, Outer Worlds 2 confirmed for October 29th. October going to be probably the biggest month of gaming in history.
Yeah.
Um,
It's such a
absolutely
big month.
hardcore. I
Yeah.
don't know what is going to happen to the world that month. But whatever it is, I'm ready for it, I guess. Outer Worlds 2, another great showing here. The deep dive was kind of just more of what we've been seeing in their in a lot of the coverage the last couple months. I know IGN has done a first look of it series where they didn't go into too much detail, but they gave they gave a lot more of it. This is just more of that, but now with some added detail. And it is very clear that they are taking the criticism of Outer Worlds, which was a lot of people were expecting this to be Fallout New Vegas in space. And that's not what they got. This time around they're saying, nope, it's very clear that people were not looking for just a super approachable RPG. They wanted something where their character feels unique to them, that the game creates a path for them to forge their own path. Like they're not restricted to a certain way of doing things. And it's all about that freedom and variation for everybody while still being having a curated experiences that account for that variety of play styles. And they're going all in on these. And I think they're making the right calls where they are dialing back on the amount of things, but spreading out how far the permutations go. So they start with the Outer Worlds was kind of the opposite, where you had like a flat layer of like a million different things, and then they only go about this far with it. Now you do this many things, but the permutations branch out in a really sweet way. But the what I've been loving about this coverage has been seeing the flaws. The flaw
Yeah.
system is
They
different,
expanded those so much more.
and I laughed out loud. First of all, they had, I can't think of his name. It's the voice of Sonic in the movies, and plays Jean-Ralphio. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, I
That's
always
bugging
forget
me.
his name.
Oh,
I know who you're talking about. I mean, yeah. Let's look
I
him
got
up.
to do it. Ben Schwartz. That's it. Ben Schwartz.
That's his name.
Play was in the direct, or was in the Outer Worlds 2 showcase, pretending to be an employee there, and it would come in and say like, "And I told the team, throw out every idea you have for flaws and stuff like that, and I want them to be real flaws you have in real life." And he has him sitting at the table with people, and there's a guy who's like, I guess I have a bad knee. And he's like, that's a stupid flaw, but it's in the game. And and then they come back to it later. The bad knees really is a flaw in the game, and I love it because when you're crouched,
Wow.
you go super fast. You can go super fast while crouched if you have the bad knees thing. Problem is, usually if you're crouched, it's because you're doing stealth. You're doing stealth, right? But they said that the unfortunate part is that when you stand up, your knees crack in the loudest way, and it shows this guy doing a stealth section, and he's come into a room with like 50 people, and he stands up. It's just the loudest, and every single person in the room turns and sees him there. Oh, it was so good. It was so
That's
good.
great.
I can't wait for this game. This is
Same.
Outer
Oh my
Worlds 2 is
gosh.
my highlight for the rest of the year, despite all the cool things that are coming this year.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, but that's going to be it for our not E3 week coverage. That's the highlights. Again, let us know in the comments if we missed something. These should be all the biggest announcements, but if you have something that you are really ride or die for, let us know about it so we can put it on our radar. Because we had 30 announcements here. There was hundreds, well, over 100 announcements. We'll just put it that way. Over 100 announcements this week. and we can't get through all of them. So you can let us know in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed the show, remember you can like and subscribe to see more. Until then, I'm Super Nolan Man. We've got Matthew Hot Dog Eater and the Hyrule King, Bo Mitchell, and you. Have a great week.